settings here, and when they don't show up here, you should check up here. So we're looking for an integer. Just hit I. Max library items. As long as that is less than or equal to our hero number. As we're adding one up here, we have to check that it's less than or equal to. If you were adding one to the hero number inside here, you would have to check that it's less than, and so on. You'll have to figure the logic out yourself depending on which way you do it. So if we have 3 hero spots here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to update the total heroes added. By the way, this is just a data setup part, and we'll particularly focus on the usage of records here. If this does not interest you, then just skip ahead to the next part. I'll make it like a separate tutorial. Just skip ahead to that, and you can I shouldn't code and talk at the same time. I should do one thing at a time, else I just get confused. And you can skip all this if you already know how to do this stuff. Anyway, so here we're setting up the name. Take the parameter name, and we just copy this up. I'll explain this entire function once I'm done creating it. Spawn effect and unit type. Alright. So, there we go. This function will now come in here. You can pass in these 3 variables, or this action. It's an action in the Galaxy editor. You pass in these 3 things. And the first thing it will do is it will create a new variable, local variable, and put it to the total heroes added +1. Then it will check if we have space for heroes. If we do, update the total heroes added, and then just set the current hero number and set the data for that hero. We're going to have to write a few more functions, fairly easy ones. New function. Get hero name. Return type. String. You could fill in a hint text, I'm not going to bother. Parameter, hero ID, whatever. And all we're going to do here is return. And the variable we're going to return is the data library. We're going to take the hero ID that's passed in. We're going to return the name. We're just going to copy this one. Return unit type. Set it to unit type here. Alright, unit type. Take the unit type here. Copy. Spawn effect. Gonna go preset. Hero spawn effect, and it's gonna return the spawn effect. Alright, saving my map. Might as well do that now. UI tutorial. Have a reflex of hitting Control S all the time, so I might as well save it now, as that dialog will be popping up a lot. Alright, we're gonna need one more thing for this thing. Amount of heroes added. Well, you could call it something else. Gonna take from, gonna be here integer. Take from the settings, total heroes added, and we don't need a hero ID. Alright, so there we have a working library. Fairly simple to create. The reason why I create these get set things is because imagine if you later on in your map decide that maybe you want color on your hero names, and or something like that. Now if you set this to, instead of, I'm gonna make a better example. So text, we're gonna set it to return text, and we're gonna do convert string to text, combine strings multiple, or actually I'm gonna take a, actually I'm not gonna do that. Sorry if I'm confusing now. I'll explain everything once I'm done doing it. I just didn't plan this out too well, so convert string to text, and we're gonna take the hero name, and we're gonna return the variable. Alright, so let's imagine that we wrote this function, and then we use this function for our UI to get the hero name as a text, because everything that goes in a UI has to be a text, or all the text that appears in the UI. You can't put strings there. So imagine me using this function, and suddenly later on we decide that we want color on our hero names. One thing we could do would be to go back and change all our hero names and add color to them, hard-code it into the name. However, that would be a problem, because then we would have to go in here. We would have to, possibly if you were using this function here in many different systems, you would have to go and let me start over. I'm confusing myself, sorry. Let's say you didn't use any get-set functions. In every system you had, you just accessed this data record directly, and you pulled out the name and converted it to text, and then suddenly you decide you want to add color. Now this is a string, so if you then were going to convert it to text everywhere, you can't just make this text here and add the color. You would have to go in every location you used it and edit it and change it and add the color. However, since we did this return as text here, if I want to add color to this hero name, all I really have to do is go in here and add color, set it to be a color, then I add it to the add hero, color. Obviously, if I've used this action anywhere, I would have to update every single usage of it, but that's fine. So color equals color. Now that I have my color, I can just go in here, copy this one up, text with color, and the color I want is, of course you should write a get color function, so here ID get. Just get in the habit of writing these get functions for every single value you want, and it will make your life a lot easier in the long run. There we go. And there I added color to my hero names, instead of having to go around and changing it in tons of other places if I potentially had this in other places. So yeah, that's my hero library done. Let's add some data in here.